I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor.
Very, very rocky.
Death by government.
Drain the swamp.
Hello and welcome to another installment of Liberty Nation's Swamponomics videocast. I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor. This week, it was not a merry little Christmas for retailers, as 'twas the season to be stingy. A December to dismember perhaps, maybe a bad dream before a full-blown nightmare after Christmas. Whatever the case, holiday shopping failed to emulate the retail sales seen throughout 2023. Between November 1st and December 24th, US retail sales rose 3.1%, down from last year's 7.6% increase and short of the 3.7% forecast, according to the newest MasterCard report. Despite some of the biggest retailers in America accelerating their promotions to entice cost-conscious shoppers to their brick-and-mortar retail stores and digital portals, it was not enough for those engaging in the art of tapping, inserting, and swiping, or perhaps in the future, flicking of the wrists or scanning of the palm.
Holiday shopping discounts and promotions at giants Amazon and Walmart also weren't as deep as last year. Some of those discounts were rolled back starting in December when shoppers were expected to buy last-minute gifts before Christmas.
Meanwhile, online sales surged 6.3%, down from 10.6% a year ago, and in-store transactions jumped 2.2%, down from 6.8% in 2022. What did consumers buy anyway? Well, let's just say it's more junk, but that's not part of the data. According to MasterCard data, shoppers allocated their holiday budgets to restaurants and groceries, which climbed 7.8% and 2.1% respectively. Apparel also swelled 2.4%, jewelry fell 2%, and electronics dipped 0.4%. One analyst noted that consumers are still spending, but they are price conscious and desire to stretch their budgets. Additionally, the financial analyst explained that the weeks between Cyber Monday and Super Saturday, the Saturday before Christmas, was a, quote, soft period. So, what happened? Well, there are three components to rationalize why consumers did not engage in the pandemic-era term of revenge spending. First, the high interest rate climate is starting to seep into everyday life, particularly for mom and pop consumers. As previously noted, total US credit card debt is north of $1 trillion. Plus, the typical credit card interest rate is well above 20%. Borrowing is too expensive these days, especially when these pieces of plastic are used to buy groceries, pay the rent, and keep the lights on. What more do you have left in your credit card to buy more junk? Second, inflation remains too high. Despite the daily ticker tape parade from the current administration and the mainstream media that inflation is coming down, the annual consumer price index is still around 3%. Also, cumulative inflation is about 18%. Prices are still rising, although not at the pace seen in the last couple of years. Finally, the pandemic-era savings have been exhausted. The money that was accumulated during the public health crisis, originating from federal and state stimulus packages and not being able to waste $100 on disappointing meals at restaurants, is gone. Although the personal savings rate has edged up back to 4%, these figures are historically low and way down from the record highs observed during the coronavirus pandemic. Ultimately, we are seeing consumers slow down their spending. In the final third quarter gross domestic product report from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, personal consumption was revised lower to slightly above 2%. In the BEA's separate PCE data, consumer spending inched higher by 0.2% in November, up from just 0.1% in October. Looking ahead to 2024, market analysts believe that consumer spending will actually contract in the first half of the year and then rebound in the second half of 2024 thanks to the Federal Reserve. Here's what the Conference Board stated in its report about the economic outlook in the year ahead. Quote, "We forecast that overall consumer spending growth will slow towards the year end and then contract in Q1 2024 and Q2 2024 As inflation and interest rates abate later in 2024, we expect consumption to begin to expand once more. It cited dwindling pandemic-era savings, soaring household debt, which is already above $17 trillion, the resumption of student loan payments, and real disposable personal income struggling to grow. JP Morgan Chase economists apparently agree, writing in their forecast for 2024, quote, "There are numerous reasons to expect consumer spending growth to slow next year from its pace in 2023. Diminished excess savings, plateauing wage gains, low savings rates, and less pent-up demand. Additionally, the restart of student loan payments and uptick in subprime auto and millennial credit card delinquencies are emerging signs of stress for some consumers." Whew. In addition, America's largest and most profitable bank cited potential headwinds to the US economy that could continue to weigh on growth prospects over the next year. A growing federal budget deficit, geopolitical risks, slowing housing sector activity, and above-trend inflation. Of course, because the US economy is 2/3 consumption, a decline in consumer spending would obviously weigh on the nation. This helps explain why the Conference Board is expecting a 0.7% GDP contraction in the first quarter of the year and another 0.8% drop in the second quarter of 2024. In other words, a technical recession that mirrors almost exactly like the first half of 2022, which was the recession not named a recession. But don't fret! As the Bureau of Economic Analysis reminds us, federal, state, and local government spending accounts for about 1/3 of US growth. Let the borrowing, printing, and taxing begin. That's it for me this week. Please read my full Swamponomics column on the pages of LibertyNation.com, and be sure to check out my previous Swamponomics TV videos and interviews. Thank you. I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor.
Very, very rocky.
Death by government.
Drain the swamp.